a victory over Oklahoma on the road, and we're about to get things started in Lawrence. Baylor won both matchups between these two teams last year, but Kansas had a 4-point lead with about 20 seconds remaining, and Baylor came back and won. So it'll be interesting as we watch this one. A foul, an offensive foul called on the first possession for the Jayhawks. Baylor's head coach, Nicki Collen, in her second season, she's already earned a victory over every team in the Big 12 Conference. Oklahoma was the only team she hadn't beat. Last year, they were swept by Oklahoma. This year, they've already gotten a win over Oklahoma. What an incredible feat, and an early look there for the phenomenal freshman, Little Paige Buggs. She's actually the only player for the Baylor Bears who've had to endure a lot of injuries. She's the only player that has started every single game for the Bears. Yeah, they have dealt with injuries. We'll talk more about that as we go today. Kansas with their second offensive possession, and Holly Kersgeter poked in the eye by Ja'Mee Asberry, so the first foul called on Baylor. Zakiyah Franklin, the lefty, goes to her right hand. Jackson blocked out by Bickle. And that rebounding battle going to be a big part of today's game. Baylor able to keep Kansas off the offensive boards. Coach Brandon said the two categories that he's really looking at are the rebounding and then free throws, because he wants his team to be able to get to the free throw because they are such a good free throw shooting team, and then they have to out-rebound the Bears. And they do have phenomenal post players, don't get me wrong. They have the 9th ranked recruiting class, and 2 of those featured freshmen of their bigs, but it's not the Twin Towers or the, but they had 2 players in the top 10 in the WNBA draft, Melissa Smith and Queen Ugbo, so you graduate 2 phenomenal post players. 3 players total went to the WNBA draft, but 2 of those post players in the top 10. A lot of three-pointers will go up from Baylor. Jaden Owens misses that one. Same starting 5 as we've come to expect for Kansas, although they've had some players in and out of the lineup with injuries and illness. Asberry short, Bickle there with the offensive board. Andrews inside to Bickle, takes it right at Chandler Prater, but can't score it. All the way to the rim, Holly Kersgeter for the first basket of the game for Kansas. Showing that versatility, Holly Kersgeter able to score at all 3 levels. That time with a fantastic drive and an even better finish. And a steal for the Jayhawks. Kersgeter doesn't have numbers, 2 on 3, and she pulls it up. Mayberry with the 3-pointer. Wybette Mayberry, the transfer from Tulsa, has made a big difference in this lineup. And she can certainly be the X factor for the Jayhawks. The Bears in the Big 12 Conference haven't seen her yet, and so she is new to this team, and she is a key to the Jayhawks' success. Dariana Little Paige Buggs, the highly touted freshman, makes it to the rim. And so athletic for a big. I mean, almost plays more like a guard with her ability, with her handles, and the way that she can drive the ball. But an entry pass, the seal-off as well for Jackson with her first bucket. Tiana Jackson, the reigning Big 12 Player of the Week, has been phenomenal as of late, coming off a 15-point, 18-rebound game against Texas Tech. Prater misses, almost commits her second foul, but Baylor so quick coming right back, and there's Jackson with back-to-back blocks from Jackson. Fast and furious action, end-to-end shot blocks, and Franklin pulls up for the short jumper, can't get it to go, but she steps in. Prater steps through, gets it. I mean, it is a track meet right now. I mean, it is fast and furious. Both these teams trying to catch their... Nice fake on the shot blocker by Little Paige Buggs. You can see why that she is picked preseason to be the Big 12 Freshman Player of the Year. Smooth moves. Well, she learned her lesson from the the trip previously and got Jackson up in the air. Prater spins, scores.
Powerful move from Chandler Prater, showing the toughness. And talk about Kansas' biggest win to date. It was against Arizona, and she had a big one. Jackson, once again, she is just racking up the blocks.
And she was here last year, and she set the program record for Kansas for block shots in a year, but she wasn't the force that she is offensively this year.
And she's worked on that quite a bit, is her offensive presence, and then also Kansas getting her the ball. Bickle.
But Baylor back in defensive transition.
Great transition, D, because Kansas, I thought, had numbers there, but just didn't take the right angle.
Prater pulls up. Baylor on the run. Ja'Mee Asberry averages about 10.5 points. Caitlin Bickle averages 12 points a game, and she's got 4.
And that was all about spacing for the Bears and then spreading out across the arc, and then it was just Bickle to find. And look at the defense from Bickle against Jackson, just denying that entry pass.
Asberry tries to dump it off. But Baylor has had some wide open players coming around screens on these inbounds, and Sarah Andrews with a nice banker.
Baylor has a ton of ball screens. I said a lot of ball screens is going to be important for Kansas and how they're defending the ball screens, and a lot of that it has to do with the angle at which the screen is going to be set.
Hatsalianti, who's had some good games against Baylor. Actually, her career high was at Baylor last year. So she's hunting her shot early. Jackson has it stripped away, and it's off Kansas. Owens knocks down the 3.
Andrews was driving and working downhill.
A foul away from the basket. Baylor is currently on a 10-0 run. Bickle. And a whistle is blown. No
basket.
No basket as the officials get together. So the foul was called before, or the foul was committed before Bickle went up for the shot. Jenna Cross, Julie Cromenhoek, and Kevin Peffel, as Kevin Peffel stepped in to advise Jenna Cross on that call. Kansas having a hard time getting into the paint against the Baylor defense here early. Hatsalianti changing directions. That's a tough shot.
It was Fauntleroy playing it. She tried to jump the passing lane there, dismissed the steal, a near steal. That gave Ioana Hatsalianti a little bit of a runway.
Asberry long, and they're going to call a foul on Hatsalianti. The freshman Bella Fauntleroy out of Kickapoo High School in Springfield, Missouri, played on the 2001 Missouri State team alongside Jackie Stiles. 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Franklin probing. Good help defense by Caitlin Bickle.
Trying to get the ball, breaking away some entry passes. Caitlin Bickle has just been it for Baylor.
Shot clock is off. 7 seconds remaining. All the way, not able to connect to Sarah Andrews, and Kansas has time. Holly Kurzgeter pulls up. Almost banks it in. But that's the way the first quarter will end. The Iowa State preseason pick to win. Texas right there in votes, but Baylor, Oklahoma, Kansas, all right up there, and everybody, as usual, has the ability to knock anyone off. And a big shot for the Jayhawks to tie it up.
And that's 2 for 2 for Yvette Mayberry.
Fauntleroy takes it right at Zakiyah Franklin, offensive foul. Yeah, Fauntleroy is a talented player, but sometimes at this level you don't anticipate that help defense being there. That's something I think that's learned as they gain more experience. Mayberry, under 5 on the shot clock, scoops it up. Tiana Jackson there to rebound, and she's fouled on the putback. Gets it up just before the shot clock expired. And she has the unenviable task of trying to keep Tiana Jackson off the boards. Tiana Jackson leads the Big 12 in rebounds per game, 3rd in the country at 12.6 rebounds a game. And she makes both free throws. Baylor so far led in scoring by Little Paige Buggs. She has 6. She had the first 6 of the game for Baylor. Bickle pulling Prater out. And the bucket from Little Paige Buggs. She's got 8.
Showing that versatility to stretch the defense. Smooth jumper on the baseline.
Holly Kersgeter has it knocked away. Holly Kersgeter slips around and misses a wide open layup. Top of the key. Splashing it home is Ja'Mee Asberry. That's her first basket of the game. She had started 0 for 5 from the field.
On that missed attempt, it took Kersgeter a while to get back on defense.
Chandler Prater doesn't make a lot of threes. That's her 4th of the season. Franklin gets a hand on it. Kansas has numbers. Mayberry takes it right at Bickle and scores.
That is a tough finish from Wyvette Mayberry.
And she's leading the Jayhawks right now with 8 points. She's made a couple of three-pointers, and she's 3 for 5 from the field. Oh, all by herself. Andrews missed the first one, but got the second.
Well, the defense was spread. All the Bears on the perimeters. There's nobody on the low block to corral that rebounds.
That time, reaching in was Jaden Owens. Asberry all the way to the rim. Kansas on the season, just the 1 loss, a triple overtime loss to Nebraska. They started off 2-0 in Big 12 play for the first time in the Brandon Schneider era. Baylor, on the other hand, their 3 losses on the year, they're 11-3. Were all to ranked teams as Owens knocks down a jumper and Brandon Schneider calls a time.
It's been difficult for Kansas. A good job defensively for the Bears because Kansas has not gotten the ball in the hands of the likes of Kersgeter or Zakiyah Franklin.
Kersgeter with just 2 points and another steal from Baylor. And it's poked away by Mayberry. Jaden Owens, number 10, to trigger it in. Over the top, and another easy look on an inbounds play. Baylor has had several of those as Little Paige Buggs scored that she's in double figures now for Baylor. You mentioned it, Jill. Kersgeter and Franklin really have not got going. Finally, for Kansas, Kersgeter hits a bucket. She's got 4, but Zakiyah Franklin has not scored yet. Both those two had 26 points in their win over Texas Tech. And again, the freshman Little Paige Buggs scores the basket, and she will go to the free throw line for an and-one opportunity.
What an athletic finish from Little Paige Buggs.
Little Paige Buggs, the 6'1" freshman out of Edmond, Oklahoma, already with 12 points. She's 6 of 8 from the field. She is a 58% free throw shooter on the year, but makes that one to give Baylor a 7-point lead, their largest lead of the game. All-American Athletic Conference second-team selection last year at Tulsa before transferring over to Kansas. About 7 seconds difference between game clock and shot clock, and an offensive foul called on Sarah Andrews.
Kansas is going to try to hold there with this last possession going into half.
Mayberry has it stolen away. Baylor with a chance. As the clock winds down, Bickle gets it up in time, but off the mark. And Baylor will take a 5-point lead. The lineup that you see on the court of Owens, Asberry and Andrews out at the guard position. Bickle and Little Page Buggs up 5 points as we start the third quarter. And there, Little Page Buggs picks up where she left off. She is the leading scorer. She's got 15 points for Baylor, and she just typically averages about 9 points per game for Baylor.
Well, that set was exactly for her. I mean, founding her on the baseline, able to get.
And then Holly Kersgeter with the miss.
In and out for Kersgeter attempt. That was a good attempt. Just couldn't get it to fall.
Bickle in traffic.
An extra pass constantly. Look at that extra pass once again for the Bears.
And right into the hands of Bickle. All the way to the rim, and that's the largest lead of the game now for Baylor.
Coming from your opponent.
So the foul gives Kansas another possession. Holly Kersgeter just takes it right at the basket. Kersgeter, an 80% free throw shooter in the first half. The foul was on Owens. That's her third foul. Baylor's wins in Big 12 play so far are against TCU and on the road at Oklahoma. The Gatorade Player of the Year last year in the state of Oklahoma, and a state champion leading her team to a state championship class in high school. Kersgeter steps back. That's a big shot for Kansas.
That's a tough one for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, you have to give the defender a step, but it looked like to me that Prater had established herself, and a good answer for Little Page Buggs now with 17. Mayberry.
Does reset the shot clock to 20, but then it doesn't give a wide open look to Baylor, because I think that we're going to find an open.
And just everything going right for Baylor. Owens tried to throw the ball inside. It was an errant pass. Instead, it ends up in Asberry's hands, and she hits the three-pointer. Mayberry for three. Too strong. Another straight line drive for Andrews, but Jackson is called for the foul. Sarah Andrews leads Baylor in scoring on the year with 14.5 points a game. Caitlin Bickle also averages in double figures with 12. Asberry and Owens each with 10 points per game, and Fauntleroy off the bench.
And this is not a full-strength Baylor Bears team either. I mean, you also insert Blackwell into this lineup, or Edwards. Could you imagine?
Kersgeter throws it up at the basket. Jackson tracks it down, and a foul called. They're going to call it on Bickle. Jackson averages almost 16 points and almost 13 rebounds a game. Misses both free throws, and like you said, Jill, there's some frustration from Kansas right now. Owens picks it up off the window. 12-point lead for the Bears. Jackson had been posting up. She let go of her position and then made three fouls. We'll see how that factors into things. And that one goes in. Jackson has been phenomenal. Kansas shooting just 36% on the night. Fauntleroy takes it right at Jackson. And so a smaller lineup for Kansas as they'll move Hatzaliante to the 5 position. Fauntleroy misses the first, makes the second. Zakiyah Franklin still has not scored for Kansas. She has been phenomenal as of late. And Hatzaliante with a big basket for Kansas inside. Asberry Andrews tracks it down. The extra pass to Asberry in the corner, no, and Fauntleroy knocks it out of bounds. Boy, the freshman's so active.
There's a timeout on the floor.
But a timeout on the floor as Baylor.
Then Andrews with 10, Asberry with 8, Owens with 7.
And then when you talk about the other end of the court, Baylor held Oklahoma to just their second lowest scoring output in their victory as they won that game 81-70. Well, Kansas hasn't scored less than 72 points all year long, and they're just at the 38-point mark here with 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Nine points for Chandler Prater. Fauntleroy from the corner. Mayberry, and a blocking foul. Count the basket and one.
Count the basket.
So a 5-0 run out of the timeout for the Jayhawks draws them back within 5.
And a flurry, too. Some extended D.
Andrews
Makes
rattles
him
in and out and back in. Kersgeter going to work on Asberry. Ollie Kersgeter, 8 points on the afternoon. Kersgeter, an 80% free throw shooter on the season. Owens kicks out, shot clock winding down. Asberry short. Mayberry ahead to Kersgeter, over to Franklin, the first basket of the game for Zakiyah Franklin in fast break. Owens, too strong. Franklin just hit the layup, and now she hits the three-pointer. And a timeout. Kansas, 5 of their last 5. Nicki Collen calls a timeout for Baylor. They've been really good out of timeouts so far in this game.
They're just so solid in sharing the basketball. I mean, when your team averages 18 assists a game, you know that you have an unselfish team that's going to make that extra pass.
And they do just that, and Bickle powers it up over Prater. Great play out of the timeout.
And you kind of wondered when Bickle was going to get back into the ball game, because she is that glue type of player. It makes a big bucket, makes a strong defensive play. I mean, she really does it all for the Bears.
Zakiyah Franklin had it blocked, got it back, gets it back again, short. And Baylor denies Franklin. Owen to Bickle. Bickle challenged by Hatzaliante. Asberry was all by herself for a moment. Kersgeter got a hand on it. And calmly, Sarah Andrews hits the bucket. 16 now. 5-0 answer for Baylor out of the timeout. Block shot by Little Paige Buggs.
What defense from the freshman.
We talked about the fact that Baylor doesn't have the bigs that they've had. Melissa Smith, Queen Egbo last year graduating, but you still have Bickle, and you've got these athletic, talented freshmen in Little Paige Buggs, and then Fauntleroy that comes in for her. The bank shot by Andrews with a smile.
Andrews so confident. I mean, that was a savvy bank shot. That's exactly what she intended to do.
And a 7-0 run for Baylor after the timeout by Nicki Collen. Kansas with what appears to be one last attempt here in the third quarter. Mayberry floats it up. And Kansas had gotten back in it, had drawn within 2. Kansas had drawn within 2, had all the momentum. Nicki Collen called a timeout, and Baylor answered with the 7-2 run.
You know, a zone defense once again for Baylor. We've seen them switch to this a few times in this game.
Ball reversal. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Franklin. No.
+9 as Baylor on the rebounding. They're doing a good job of kind of corralling that basketball and not allowing the Jayhawks with some second chance points.
Andrews, nice pass to Bickle. Gets Hatziliante with the foul. Often in this game, 2 for 5 from the field. Back for her 5th year. She's averaged over 15 points.
I mean, it's the extra pass. It's the drive and kick and their ability to knock down the long-range shots as well if needed. The toughness, the communication, just the leadership as well. You can see her out there communicating to her teammates.
She had been 3 of 3 from the line. She's an 83% free throw shooter on the year. Makes that one. Every possession right now, so important. Especially for the Jayhawks to try to chip into this 10-point lead. What a hesitation move for Andrews. What a day she's having once again, following up her 30-point game against Oklahoma with 20 points today against Kansas. A foul on Owens, so now Owens has 4 fouls. Franklin. She had those 5 points with the back-to-back layup and 3-pointer. She misses, but Jackson there to clean it up, and she's fouled. Jackson for most of the game. Jackson with 7 rebounds. Andrews once again. She is red hot. 9 of 14 overall, 3 of 5 from distance. And Mayberry shifts gears and gets to the basket.
5 minutes left to go in this ball game. The crowd's starting to get into it, trying to will the Jayhawks.
Andrews has been on fire. So shifty. Asberry. Missing. Mayberry doesn't have numbers. Jackson to Kersgeeter. Makes it. And they've already knocked off the 17th ranked team in the country, Oklahoma. And they've been so good out of timeouts as Little Paige Bugs scores there to stop the KU run. Chandler Prater at the rim. And stepping on the baseline.
Bring the ball into the hands of Zakiyah Franklin.
Kansas had an early lead in this game. They were up 11-6 in the first quarter. They have not led since early. Franklin getting going all of her points here in the second half. She's now got 9.
That was just an ISO play. Getting the ball to Zakiyah Franklin saying, go to work.
And Kansas within 4. They're led by Mayberry with 18, Kersgeeter with 11, Prater with 11 as well. And out of the timeout, they go to Andrews. And it quiets the crowd. This crowd has been just on top of it every time Kansas makes a run. Jackson with a big rebound, goes to the opposite side and short. And Bickle was careful not to pick up her 5th foul. Jackson and Bickle both have 4 fouls in that interior game. Less than 2 minutes to play and a travel. Kansas down 6. And it goes right through the hands of Kersgeeter. And Ja'Mee Asberry scores and is fouled by Prater.
You can see Ja'Mee Asberry running ahead and Chandler Prater trying to get down to be able to block that shot, but goes the way of the Bears. A 3-point play for Ja'Mee Asberry. And they did that against Oklahoma too. They had a big 3-point play at the end of that ball game to kind of seal that victory.
Prater tries to whip it down to Jackson. And Kevin Pethel steps in to say it's Kansas ball. Kansas needs a score. Mayberry draws the foul. Mayberry leading the way for Kansas today with 18 points. Makes the first free throw. And misses the second. Kansas has 4 team fouls in the quarter, so if they foul, Baylor will go to the free throw line.
1 minute remaining.
And Andrews, between a couple, misses it. Bickle, 55 plus in the game.
They just don't come tougher than Caitlin Bickle. I mean, the toughness.
Misses the second. So Zakiyah Franklin will inbound it on the sideline for the Jayhawks. And 5-second count.
Well, that's when you know you're locked in defensively, when you're up by 9 with 54 seconds to go and you're still working that hard defensively.
Kersgater slices in and is blocked by Sarah Andrews. And Kansas is going to have to foul down 9, and they do.
Offensively, surely, but defensively also getting it done. On the road, 2 opponents on the road. They started last Big 12 0-2 this year on the heels of going 3-0 out of the gates.
Kansas with the ball. Prater out to Mayberry, top of the key, too strong, and Andrews there with the rebound. But what a day for Sarah Andrews, the 5'6" junior out of Irving, Texas. Had the 30-point effort, career high in the win over Oklahoma. Comes to Kansas, backs it up.
The Sooners, who are such a good offensive team, and then this Kansas team has been hotter than anyone else in the conference this season. It's their ability to do that and focus in. Sarah Andrews, 27 points for her. She's going to get a high five from her head coach on the sideline.
And Baylor, the 12-time defending regular season champion, off to a 3-0 start. Back-to-back wins over ranked teams.